Hello, and look at my lovely blast furnace. Finally have it. Lots and lots of episodes it's taken us to get to that. I'm just going to admire it. Just for a little while. Okay, little while over. What do we want to do now? So this is starting to build things. So we're starting to get a little bit of the chain of this going. This will need the other cargoes really to become effective. So in furs, this is a difference between furs and the kind of base game industries. The base game industries will start producing when they get any of their required cargoes. Sort of the factory, as long as you take one of the three things it needs, it will start producing goods. Furs, you don't really get full efficiency until you've supplied all of those. So I'm not going to start trying to take iron or cast iron anywhere until I've really connected that up. I think that's only sort of making 30 tons or so, so it's not really going to be a useful amount of cargo. So I do want to connect this up, but I also want to go back and take a look at my passenger line. So if we remember the mountain ridge line, made up here. So the Fairport Convention Centre, we were kind of prevented from expanding it because our local authority rating was rather poor. But we've been running services for a while, and wow, they love us. They think we are amazing. They think we are fantastic. We are no longer the tree-destroying villains of the past. We are now the road-destroying partners of the future. So let us do that. Let's now destroy that road. Let's build this station, extend it a bit. Let's build some lovely things. Do we get this house? Oh, we can build the planter as well. That's nice. Some little trees in the middle there, and double a ramp. I can never find the ramps. I always look in the wrong place for them. This is this is one of those cases where the ramp is, as everyone's parents were fond of saying, the ramp is it where you last left it? And yes, it is in the same place you last left it, in the middle of the purchase list with the others. Okay, so the Fairport Convention Centre is now a 2-track. That's looking nice. Now let's see, what should we do with this? This is looking, so Dillon West, we have, sort of comes out here, Little Shelford. I think one day we want to extend up to Stonehaven Green. Stonehaven Green is a little bit, but it would, I don't know. Let's link it up. That would be good. So, Stonehaven Green is this weird sort of roll-on, roll-off station, so I'm going to kind of keep that up. What I'm going to do is just make this a bit more complex. So this will have to... This comes up here. Now, so that will have a gap there. This can now have a bridge. Or a slightly longer bridge is needed. Do we want a bridge or do we want to tunnel? I think actually... Though we have to bridge, so there's not enough space to tunnel, so we have to bridge. Well, that's excessive landscaping. That's wanton destruction for the sake of it. There's going to be parables, there's going to be messages. There we go. Clearly, I have accidentally ended up being in touch with the sort of latest events, because we found out the other day that apparently there is a reboot of the Raccoons cartoon due this year. Though that's going to be the worst of all worlds as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be because reboots are never really that good, really, are they? This whole sort of, we couldn't really come up with an original story of our own, so we sort of decided to reuse someone else's. Yeah. Are there any good reboots? Tell me in the comments if so. You know, it's a time to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. And although I say that, there's this whole sort of thing that the internet as large loves telling people when they're wrong. But the evidence of sort of my view, my lovely audience, my lovely bunch of occasional commenters is actually, that doesn't really happen too often. I know this because I do lots of things that are wrong, and I don't get loads and loads of people going, "Hey, you're wrong." I really enjoyed telling you that. Now I feel morally superior because I know a little bit more about signaling. That doesn't happen actually. And everyone who's commented so far has actually been very nice, very helpful. I think the occasional times when I made a really obvious mistake and I've been sort of gently pointed, but no, we don't. We get very nice comments here. We get very pleasant people talking to us. So that is good. Continue with that as well. So no, but let's go along. Let's keep doing this. How up and how down do I want to go? So I'm going to start. So I need to come around this lake. I need to build another sort of Italian job referencing beautiful line, and this is a passenger line. It's going to go through from the farmland instead. So in fact, it's probably not going to be a beautiful coastline line. It's going to be a line which smells slightly of cows as it goes through the farmland. That's not really going to be glamorous. That's definitely not something that you sort of would expect your international jet-setting spies or your master criminals to be going through, some smelling slightly of cows. It is something that you would expect to come up in a cartoon, actually. So there we go. So maybe that's the reboot. But no, I was reading about this because I was still trying to figure out what the hell happened in the raccoons, and even Wikipedia seemed to struggle with this. It told me a few things about voice actors and whatever, and reminded me that there were lots of, this is that's not good. That's not where I want to go. So this is just coming back to my previous thing that I want to kind of go down sort of gently with this, not have a huge incline all at once. And I don't really like the idea either of building the kind of huge mound, a huge thing out into the middle of the fields. That always looks a bit unnatural. I kind of like my constructions to look a little bit natural, within the bounds of them being still ruthlessly efficient. So you can spill that out a little bit here, ruin this farm. You do pay quite a lot of money in OpenTTD for clearing fields. You see, that makes trackland quite expensive. So if we're compensating the farmer fairly for this, this is maybe what sort of Sneer should have done, and maybe if he'd listened to the character that I'd kind of forgotten about. He had sort of a college-educated son or some sort of whatever. Apparently, it's Aardvarks. It's supposed to be Aardvarks, the Sneer and company. But yeah, probably had a very well-educated son who sided with the raccoons and didn't side with his father, who wanted to destroy everything. So there we go. So Dylan West. Now, this we could. This is quite a long distance, actually. So I'm not going to make the Dylan West trains come in through here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a waypoint here. So this is going to be the little. So let's rename it. So Dylan's Terminal. Let's name it after an album. Name it Blood on the Tracks. That sounds wholesome. So yeah, Saucony had this. Where do we go? We go to Dylan West. We want to then go via Blood on the Tracks. There we go. Had his son or his nephew or whatever else, the smart aardvark was called, who rightly said, don't wind up the raccoons and destroy stuff. That's not good. Be kind to the environment and so whatever else. And maybe he would have had the smart thing say, why didn't you just compensate them for their land? They can move out of that boring old tree and get a nice apartment on the river or something. Well, they do have a dog, so that might not work. But yeah. But anyway, I found it from the Wikipedia article when I was reading about this, doing modicum of research rather than just trying to kind of half remember everything. That something I didn't realise was this series carried on for quite a while, and apparently the sneer, the Aardvark, I'm told, in the later episodes, became less of a destructive menace and was more gentle to the forest while still following a motive of profit. Of course, I don't know if that was true because I didn't think I was too old for that by the time it got syndicated into the UK. So I don't know whether that's true or whether the authors on Wikipedia kind of just got so bored they made up an alternative character story which sounded more interesting and went, yeah, we'll just go with that. Wikipedia's usually pretty correct, but you never know. People might have been so bored they couldn't really verify it. I mean, yes, apparently there was character growth, but no, and I also found from that apparently they're going to reboot the thing, and now I feel that I am duty bound to watch it and possibly be very bored. Possibly I might enjoy it. It may be that there was just some kind of secret things which would have appealed to adults that I missed as a child. So other than the tracks, and this wants to go further. So let's make that. Of course, I couldn't pass up here. I should pay tribute to my favourite Dylan album, which is So I can take a breath for people who have opinions about Bob Dylan. In fact, Desire. There you go, 1976. And the words I quite liked, very, very kind of mature, wistful, whatever songwriting. It's quite a political album as well. There's quite a few things to that. Some sort of mawkish things in there as well that maybe don't hold up to the test of time so well. But there, let's have some of that. So let's continue with down here. So let's have some more unusual waypoints that won't make any sense. So the radio waypoint is going to be let's call it. So this is going to be trains which are local. So these do my back pages. That's a song, not an album, really. Maybe that's not right. And then this, I'm just going to do a flat junction because it's not going to get used that much, so it doesn't need to be super efficient. And here I think it's going to come out at another flat junction. This is really high signalling density. Where are the trains? Would I get a... Oh, we know what happened in extreme breakfasting, and we know I never learn from anything, so let's just do that. Let's redo this at signal depth of 6. There we go. So that just makes that less annoying and a bit cheaper. So there we go. That was wrong. It was totally wrong. No, actually, no. I quite like doing that like that. So let's pop that there. But no, I like Desire. It has this very kind of, it's a very mid-70s album in a lot of ways. It has that kind of, it's very weird, kind of very laid back sound which kind of came into a lot of 70s albums, and Desire has it as well. And let's just have this sort of laid back. So this one was going to be more early. So let's this is Highway 61 revisited. Dylan album. That was definitely not a relaxed sound there. Dylan had a thing that he was very deliberately trying to do on those albums, and there's, if you see sort of interviews, you'll see him refer to this thing which calls the sort of thin, wild Mercury sound, because this is Bob Dylan, very always going to speak in kind of inscrutable riddles. But the famous sort of fact about that they were originally, if you listen to those albums, they are, and I'm just going to upgrade this station while I go through this. They were originally supposed to have a very, very professional organ player on it, which you think, well, that's kind of how recording works. You have a professional session musician who comes in and does your recording. Except, obviously, if you actually listen to that period of Dylan, it has a rather non-professional organ sound to it. It's quite consistently behind the beat. It sort of comes in late. The kind of just goes with this. The band appear to be playing that chord. That works. And the reason is the organ player, a chap called Al Cooper with a K, was kind of, when they were looking to get someone to play on the organ, just kind of sat down behind it and went, well, I'll give it a shot. I didn't really know how to play it, but I'll just kind of have a go, and did that thing of people sort of having a go, which didn't really work out that well, and was, came in a bar or two behind every so often, and I didn't get it quite right. But in reference to the sound which Dylan was looking for, that sort of slightly out of control, as we call it, wild Mercury sound, he was very much like, yes, this is exactly what I want. I want this to be a little bit out of control, a little bit wild, a little bit like we don't really know what's going on. And this is exactly it. This is exactly that sound that I want. So he kept it. But that sort of raucous, wild music sounds by the end of the sort of mid-70s. The mid-70s really wasn't. You had a lot more laid-back records and the like, and there's quite a few things. The one which is really now I recently one revisited. This needs to be through. What I also need to do with this is make sure that trains going this way don't go there. So this is going to be bringing it all back home. And how much got retitled actually? So this is I don't know quite how this turned from gentle nonsense and poking fun at cartoons that should have been more exciting than they were into sort of mid-level, the kind of Bob Dylan trivia. But let's roll with it. It's something to talk about while we build this passenger line. You'll see bringing it all back home with the same cover photo and the same track list. On sort of early CDs, you'll see it either as Bringing It All Back Home or as Subterranean Homesick Blues, because when it was packaged for CD, it was determined that it might make a bit more sense to name it after its most famous track. Now, these trains here need to go not just to a collection, but via my back pages, so let's do that. Let's insert that order at the front. This might mess up the timetables, but timetables are probably all messed up anyway. So we now have this link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Lady of the Lake class. Oh, and I've got a fast carriage to attach to it as well. Now I've got these 6-wheel carriages. So I don't want to build too many because the Lady of the Lake class doesn't have great tractive effort. So let's see how we go with this. I'm going to send it to Carbis Bay. Then, this was the thing. So it needs to go via Highway 61. It doesn't need to go by that. Highway 61 Revisited, we're going to move. We can move Highway 61 Revisited to here. This is going to go via here, which tells the train want you to get onto this route. Because what I want to do with this is I forgot my ramps. Let's ramp that up. There we go. Let's build some things, build a couple of planters and some billboards, and maybe another couple of shelters at the end. That's a fairly acceptable station. There we go. Ooh, this needs to be longer now because this might have to have a train waiting in it. So let's do that. And this is where we do actually want to go via some kind of distant join. Highway 61. Now, that will go through there. Go to bring it all back home. And this is now going to go all the way up here. Probably going to have to wait for these trains a bit. And then it's going to go via Desire. Then, now this is the thing. Dylan West needs some more platforms, really, for this to work. Ooh. That's I didn't really think about that. Let's think about it now. So I'm going to make this only stop in this direction, which might not be ideal. But Little Shelford are annoyed. That's not good. Why are they annoyed? Though I built loads of trees, so we're not going to stop there. We're going to have to do this in a future. But actually, no, what we can do, we can make this a little bit inefficient, but not horrifically so. So this is going to have to go out via here. Yes, this is now going to come round here like that. They kind of need depots. These are going to have to go on the main line for now. It's not ideal, but we shall live. So this is now going to go not via Desire. We go via Dillon West. Then is going to go the way up here to Stonehaven Green. Round back from Stonehaven Green. Not going to stop at Dillon West this time. We are going to go via. Oops. Don't want to do that. That needs to sit there. That highlighted. That's not worked out. So, yes, this is going to be temporary. Not perfect, but it will suffice. And the local authority will probably like us better soon. So we have a Highway 61 revisited. Do we need to go by bringing it? No, we don't need to go by that. We do need a waypoint. So yes, Highway 61 revisited. We're going to go to E-Collection. And then we're going to come all the way down here and go to Carbis Bay. In fact, we do need that. That's the first order. So that's good. So we're going to timetable it. This is going to have some fairly generous times here. And Stonehaven Green Central is a Roro, actually, so we can't really go too slow. Let's go for 4. Then the rest of them I'm going to stop for 3. Dillon West we could stop for a little while, but that will one day be a non-terminus station. So that's Carbis Bay is kind of where these are going to try to make up their time. So that's set up. So this is now going to be what we're going to call it. We're going to put Stonehaven Express, I think. This is my express train. And let's build that. So pop that in a group, clone it. But let's see how this one goes firstly. Let's train 124. Let's see how we do with this. So coming down here. These are too many. Don't need that signal. So it gets up. Doesn't have a lot of tractive effort. It does have a reasonable amount of horsepower. So I think with that, tractive effort will keep it accelerating, even if the horsepower doesn't. So this is going to wait for a little while, and this may as well skip, actually. The reason it may as well skip is this route. So the cargo distribution currently doesn't actually know what route the train is available, what route is available, where this train goes. So this is as if the train had pulled up at that station and the destination board had said, just unknown destination. Nobody knows where this train goes. Let's see how this goes. So it's a bit disappointing for an express. I think we may have built these a little early. No, speeding up a little. It's still not great. So that's doing sort of 50, is it? This is doing 45. These are Cramptons, are they? Yes, Cramptons. So it's limited by its coaches. Yeah, there's only getting to 52, isn't it? Not very good. These are struggling out at sort of 52. So it's still faster than the other trains on the route. So the other option that I could have is I could double head it, which apparently was done with some of these trains, but I think not. Let's let that go. And I think that's a good point to leave that. Is we feel we've used this train. We created an express service, so we'll let these go and we'll let the timetable sort of autofill of its waiting times. And I think that's a nice place to wrap it. We've built an express. We learned some pointless trivia about Bob Dylan, which you we either didn't care about or you already knew because it was quite sort of low-level, entry-level trivia about some naming of CDs and organ playing, which most people who are actually into Bob Dylan will already know. So there we go. It's fine. We'll fix that in the reboot. Well, reboots always make things worse. We'll talk about something even more boring in the reboot, claiming we fixed it. But that is a good place, I think, to leave it. And I will see you in the next episode, which will not be a reboot.